Welcome into the Devil's Digest post-game show following Arizona State's 24-19 victory over Iowa State in Ames. The Sun Devils now improved to 6-3 overall in the season, 4-12 in Big 12 play, and are now bowl eligible with this win. My name is Justin Lastratosa. That's publisher Hoder Bino. And first, we'd like to thank our sponsors in Burrito Express and Santan Ford. And Hode, it seems for this ASU team, no Big 12 win just comes easy, and especially with all the adversity when it comes to injuries and things like that. Surely wasn't easy, but they found a way to get it done.
Yeah, Justin, like we said many times before, survive and advance. That's basically been the motto for ASU, even back in 2024 when they won the Big 12 championship. But how many times have you seen them just eke out very close and dramatic Big 12 wins, whether it's at home or on the road? And we talked about in our preview that ASU is a different team on the road, but this definitely is going to go down as one of the best road wins they've had in Big 12 play, which I know is not a large body of work. But like you said, no Sam Levitt, no Jordan Tyson, no Prince Dorba. And we all know that when you want to win on the road, run game travels, defense travels. We'll get into the details a little bit on those two aspects, but that's basically what won the game for ASU. Granted, they played an Iowa State team that was coming in the midst of a three-game losing streak, which is now four-game. And I know there's a lot of talk about the Cyclones wanting to get revenge after their loss to ASU in the Big 12 championship game in Arlington last year. And if Cam Scadaboo was their nightmare last season, I think that this game today showed that the defense was their nightmare. We're going to talk about all the details later on, but to only score 3 points at home against ASU, that just shows you what a great defensive effort this was. But we're not taking anything away from the offense. And Jeff Sims, backup quarterback, really needs to redeem himself after his first two starts as a Sun Devil, which were far from impressive. Today in Ames, a whole different story.
Yep, and all eyes were on Jeff Sims coming into this game, his third game as a starter for ASU in his tenure. 405 yards of total offense, three touchdowns, a couple of turnovers, sure, but they needed every single little bit of his production tonight.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at somebody that just on the ground gets 228 yards on 29 carries, averaging just under 8 yards a carry. Obviously, the highlight of Jeff Sims' performance was the 88-yard touchdown for the Sun Devils, which really you could say maybe was the difference in the game overall. Passing wise, wasn't a stellar game. 13 out of 24 for 177 yards, one touchdown, one interception. But really, you needed Jeff Sims to be playing very, very well as a runner. And obviously, he did that in spades. Now has the all time record for rushing yards in a single game by an ASU quarterback. And for the old timers out there, there was a quarterback by the name of Mark Malone back in the day, which all he did, it seems like he ran. And was a pretty good quarterback in his own right. Obviously, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers many years. You had Taylor Kelly 13 or so years ago, also a very, very good running quarterback, Jake Plummer, obviously in the mid 90s. But Jeff Sims goes ahead and shatters the record of Mark Malone by 89 yards. Obviously, also the first quarterback ever in a Sun Devil uniform to rush over 200 yards. But it really wasn't just all about Jeff Sims, because I also saw the wide receivers, including tight end Shaman Mateer, really were able to have a good game. Not stellar numbers necessarily, but just enough at times to keep the Iowa State defense honest. Shaman Mateer, and I don't know how much under the radar he's going, but I know when Justin and I talk post game, we mentioned that Shaman Mateer, quietly or not, is having a big year for the Sun Devils. His fourth game this season where he did catch at least 55 yards, 55 yards receiving. Today, six receptions, 68 yards, did have the touchdown, and definitely just was a huge part of the passing game for ASU, which again wasn't stellar, but did exactly what they had to do. I think you would definitely have to be happy for wide receiver Jalen Moss. Three receptions, 52 yards. We know that Moss has been dealing with an injury to start the season, then followed by an illness. So for him also to have a redemption game, if you will, was definitely huge. Let's also mention Raleek Brown, 16 carries for 64 yards. Maybe with all the stellar running that Sims had to do, maybe not a whole lot was required from Malik compared to other games, but he definitely was able to help out quite a bit with the ground attack. You also look at the fact that Iowa State did not have any sacks. They did have 5 tackles for a loss, but I think the offensive line, even though they kind of looked shaky at times with their run blocking, there's only so much you can expect when, as a team, you're rushing the ball for 46 times. So I think the offensive line, when it did matter, was able to open the necessary gaps, both for Jeff Sims and Raleek Brown. You look at third down conversion, 5 out of 14. Not really a stellar number, but again, ASU did exactly what they needed to do. And as we said a few minutes ago to start this post game recap, survive and advance. That's what the ASU team does very well in Big 12 play more often than not. This afternoon in Ames was just more of the same.
Yep. And without Levitt and Tyson, it was pretty much a given that the defense would have to step up, and they definitely did so. Only one game this season still where this ASU defense has given up more than 24 points, and that was against Utah on the road. Jeff Sims' other start tonight, the defense was able to make up for it.
Yeah, the defense. I mean, how many stats can you point to just show how great this defense was down 3 starters, including Prince Dorba, as we mentioned. They only had. I'm sorry, they only yielded 3 points in the second half. They limited Iowa State on third downs to 2 out of 14. I mean, that is just a mind-boggling number, especially on the road. Great play up front. Justin Watley in the fourth quarter had a passer batted down. Also, was on a couple of quarterback hurries. Did a great job. Elijah O'Neal had a sack. Also had some hurries. CJ Fight, the defensive tackle, had some big stops on the run game on quarterback Rocco Beck, who we thought might be running the ball quite a bit today, just because the passing game is so shaky for the Cyclones. And Beck, even though he was only sacked twice, only was able to gain 6 yards on 8 carries. So really a great job by the front six for the Sun Devils. There definitely was some rough games over here. A lot of penalty yards, really both for the offense and the defense. 119 penalty yards altogether. Keith Abney, uncharacteristic game where he actually got called for not one but two pass interferences, but I think also redeemed himself some way in having 2 pass breakups. Big game for Keyshawn Elliott, the linebacker. 10 total tackles, one tackle for a loss. Javon Robinson, the other cornerback, also had a big game. And I really thought that the defensive play, as well as they did without starter safety Miles Rouser, who did not start the game because of the targeting penalty he had against Houston, only played in the second half, but definitely was part of the huge effort that ASU was able to have in the second half, especially, and only in one half of play. Miles Rouser has 4 total tackles. So I think that basically, when you look at the defense, they knew this contest was going to have to win. Nordren Tyson, no Sam Levitt, obviously, no Prince Dorba, Rouser out for a half. This is a game where the defense did have to step up, and I think they did exactly that. And if you remember, in the Big 12 championship game, it's not like this defense played poorly. They had a stellar third quarter frame against the Cyclones in Arlington, forced 3 turnovers in that third quarter alone, all turnovers turning into scoring drives by ASU. And then I think today they definitely needed to step up big, and they did exactly that. So obviously Jeff Sims is one huge part of the story today, but the way the ASU defense played was just really off the chains good. And we talked in the preseason, there's going to be several games that ASU defense has to come up huge to help ASU put a contest in the win column. And this game in Ames definitely qualifies as one of those instances. Hats off to Brian Ward and the defensive effort that the Sun Devils showcased today.
Yeah, I've been looking ahead, a much needed bye week for ASU ahead of their date with West Virginia at home the week of November 15th. We know Sam Levitt's out for the season, but maybe getting players like Jordan Tyson and Prince Dorbert back would be big. But going into this bye week, kind of the home stretch of the season, what are the Sun Devils going to have to do to kind of overcome the adversity that they're still facing?
Well, first of all, kudos to head coach Kenny Dillingham, who said after the game that he's actually giving the team literally the entire week off to just have that much needed mental break. Obviously, when you go into the bye week, following a win versus following a loss, maybe that's the quote unquote luxury that you may have. But this team, like you said, Justin, really needs to heal up physically. And I would say not so much heal up mentally because this was a huge, huge bounce back win with all the adversity happening, with such a disappointing loss to Houston at home a week ago today. But nonetheless, I think that mental break can really prepare them well for the home stretch of the season. 3 games left after the bye week, 2 at home, 1 on the road. And first up is West Virginia. And for those that maybe missed the news, West Virginia goes into Houston, the same team that did beat the Sun Devils a week ago in Tempe, and wins 45-35, and that was the first conference win for the Mountaineers. So yes, the wacky results in the Big 12 never stop each and every week. So I think West Virginia already has the full attention of the Sun Devils, even 2 weeks out of that game. But for ASU, I would say first really cut down on the penalties. It was disappointing to see a record penalty game under Kenny Dillingham, 11 penalties for 119 yards. There were only, I think, 39 yards of penalties in the second half. So following a horrendous first half, and a lot of players having a tough time with multiple penalties. Offensive lineman Maxa and Inacor. Obviously, also defensive end Albert Smith, Keith Abney, we mentioned earlier. So really to have a bye week, maybe for those 3 players in specific, just to flush out a performance that at best was a bag of mixed goods, is also really huge. And really just for ASU offense to rediscover a new identity, if you will, now with Jeff Sims at backup quarterback. And if this was the first test for how Jeff Sims is going to lead the offense, for the Sun Devils. This is definitely a test that he passed with flying colors. But now the blueprint on how the ASU offense is going to look like Jeff Sims, because like you said, Sam Levitt is out for the year. So it's not like defenses really have to prepare for anybody else but a Jeff Sims-led offense. So I don't know if this offense needs to really reinvent itself week in and week out for the home stretch, but they're definitely going to have to play with the same efficiency that they did play today. 290 rushing yards isn't a figure that you can count on having each and every week, no matter how challenging of a seasons teams like West Virginia, Colorado, and Arizona, the remaining opponents for ASU, are having. But really, just to take a step back, even after a win, and just reassess everything that needs to be looked at carefully is definitely an important task for the Sun Devils to do. And look, I still think chances are stacked up against ASU for making a repeat appearance in the Big 12 championship game, but we'll see what Texas Tech does against Kansas. The game that's being played as we speak. We already know Houston now with 2 losses after that really surprising home defeat against West Virginia, but Houston still has the tiebreaker against ASU. Utah still has a tiebreaker against ASU in a huge game in Salt Lake City later tonight against Cincinnati. So, we talk about the wacky Big 12, and maybe things do kind of sort out themselves for ASU. They did reach the Big 12 championship game last year with 2 losses, but let's not forget those 2 losses were not against Big 12 championship game contenders. This year they are. So a lot can happen between now and Thanksgiving weekend, but if you're ASU, all you can do is keep on winning and see where the chips fall, even though your fate is dependent on so many different teams. But survive in advance. That works for ASU quite a bit last year. So far, working quite a bit for ASU this year. We'll see what happens the rest of the month of November. But ASU definitely started November on the right foot.
Well, thank you, Hode, for your insight. As always, the Sun Devils with a huge Big 12 win in Iowa State. Going into a bye week, they needed it. And we'll be here with all the coverage. So stay locked in. Go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devil's Digest on Twitter at Devil's Digest. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors in Burrito Express and Santan Ford. And for publisher Hardabino, I'm Justin Lacertosa. We'll talk to you guys next week.